7 days, 30-plus gold medals, and a win to games that already feels historic. From a Swiss underdog turning the world's hardest downhill into his personal movie, to Ilya quad god Malanin crashing out of medal contention, to a Norwegian cross-country legend chasing Olympic immortality, Milano Cortina 2026 has delivered drama in every direction. In this video, we're breaking down every medal day from February 7th to February 13th. Who won, how they did it, and the key moments you'll be talking about long after the flame goes out. We'll hit the Alpine classics, the new school freestyle tricks, the shock results on the ice, and the storylines behind the scores. So stay with this report till the end, because the final day we cover, Friday the 13th, turns into one of the wildest, most emotional days of the entire games, from a figure skating upset to a hockey beatdown and a biathlon redemption arc that no one saw coming. Let's get into it. Day 1 of medals at Milano Cortina, Saturday, February 7th, and the games wasted no time delivering. We start on the infamous Stelvio downhill in Bormio, nicknamed the Ribbon of Death for its brutal drops and icy turns. Switzerland's Franjo von Allmen, just 24 years old, turned that danger into his stage. He attacked from top to bottom, finishing in 1 minute and 51.61 seconds to win the very first gold medal of these Olympics, ahead of Italy's Giovanni Franzoni and Dominic Paris in an all-Alps podium. The pre-race favorite, his Swiss teammate Marco Odermatt, was pushed off the podium, underlining how big an upset this was. Von Allmen called it like a movie, and for Switzerland, it was a perfect opening scene. Cross-country next, and Sweden struck early. In the women's 10 kilometers plus 10 kilometers skiathlon, Frida Karlsson waited, then pounced. She broke away with about 5 kilometers to go, powering clear through heavy, wet snow to take gold in 53 minutes and 45.2 seconds. Her teammate Ebba Andersson made it a Swedish 1-2 with silver, while Norway's Heidi Wong clawed her way through the pack for bronze. Karlsson even had time to grab a Swedish flag before the finish, a statement that Sweden's distance team came to dominate. On the ice in Milan, Italy's first golden rule of the Games came from speed skating. Francesca Lollobrigida, on her 35th birthday and in front of a partisan crowd, stormed the gold in the women's 3,000 meter with an Olympic record 3 minutes and 54.28 seconds. She beat Norway's Ragnar Wiklund and Canada's Valerie Maltese, becoming the first Italian woman ever to win Olympic speed skating gold and handing the host nation its first title of 2026. Over at the ski-jumping normal hill in Predezzo, Norway reclaimed a piece of its legacy. Anna Odinstrom delivered a clutch final jump of 101 meters to total 267.3 points, edging Slovenia's Nika Prev by just 1.1 points, the closest gold-silver margin in women's Olympic ski-jumping history. Japan's Nozomi Murayama took bronze. Strom, who had been battling inconsistency and injury, called it unbelievable and said she still couldn't quite grasp that she was an Olympic champion. And then the night ended with fireworks in Liveno's big air jump. Japan's Kira Kimura lit up the men's snowboard big air final. After an early fall, he dropped a massive final run trick, capped by a 90.50-point jump, to total 179.50 and snatched gold away from compatriot Ryoma Kimata. Defending champion Su Yiming of China took bronze, becoming the first man ever to win 2 Olympic medals in the event. Kimura's last-run heroics gave Japan its first men's big air gold in Olympic history. Day 1 finished with 5 gold medals handed out and a clear message: no one was easing into these games. Day 2, Sunday, February 8th, cranked the intensity even higher, with 8 gold medals on the line. The women's downhill turned into one of the most dramatic and frightening races of the Games. American legend Lindsey Vonn, competing in her final Olympics, crashed hard and had to be airlifted from the course, casting a shadow over the early runs. But out of that chaos emerged another American speed specialist, Breezy Johnson. She put down a fearless, attacking run to win gold by just 0.04 of a second over Germany's Emma Acher, with Italy's Sofia Goggia taking emotional bronze in front of home fans. Johnson's win gave Team USA its first gold at Milano Cortina. Biathlon's mixed relay 4x6 kilometers showcased France's long-planned depth. The French quartet, anchored by Julia Simon, executed near-perfect shooting and skiing to win gold, finishing roughly 25 seconds ahead of Italy, with Germany taking bronze. It was a reminder that in relays, cool heads under pressure often matter more than raw ski speed. In cross-country, Norwegian star Johannes Høsflot Klæbo collected yet another chapter in an already legendary career. He dominated the men's 10 km plus 10 km skiathlon, winning his sixth Olympic gold in 46 minutes and 11 seconds and moving closer to the all-time record for Winter Games titles. France's Mathis Desloges took silver, Norway's Lostro 9 bronze, while Klæbo once again showed he has no equals when tactics and sprint power combine. Sliding sports brought German precision to the forefront. In men's singles luge, Max Langenen turned 4 runs into 4 track records. The reigning world champion finally got his Olympic gold, total time 3 minutes and 31.191 seconds, ahead of Austria's Jonas Müller and Italy's Dominic Fischler, who claimed another bronze for the hosts. Snowboard parallel giant slalom featured one of the day's big storylines. Austria's Benjamin Kahl, at 40, defended his men's Olympic title, becoming a 4-time Olympic medalist, with South Korea's Kim Sang-Kim taking silver and Bulgaria's Toval Zamfarov edging Slovenia's Tim Masnak for bronze in a photo finish. In the women's event, Czech rider Zuzana Madarova won her first Olympic gold, Austria's Sabine Paire took silver, and Italy's Lucia Dalmasso claimed bronze to keep the home medal surge going. Figure skating's team event delivered pure drama. The U.S. and Japan were tied heading into the final segment, the men's free skate. Ilya Malinin, nicknamed the Quad God, responded with a program loaded with 5 quadruple jumps and a huge technical score, pulling the U.S. to gold and making them the first nation ever to defend the Olympic team title. Japan took silver, Italy bronze, and Malinin instantly became one of the faces of these games. On the long track, Norway's Sander Eitrim shattered the Olympic record to win the men's 5,000 meter in 6 minutes and 3.95 seconds, more than 2.5 seconds clear of the field. It was a statement performance that confirmed Norway's strength isn't confined to the cross-country trails. If Day 1 was about opening shocks, Day 2 proved the Games had no intention of slowing down. Monday, February 9th brought 5 more golds and a strong Swiss and Dutch flavor. On the Stelvio, the new men's alpine team combined made its Olympic debut. Switzerland's Franjo von Allmen and Tanguy Neff teamed up to take gold, making von Allmen the first double champion of Milano Cortina. Italy had led after the downhill portion, but when the slalom times were added, Switzerland's total of around 2:44 was good enough to leapfrog into first. In a rare twist, Austria and another Swiss pair, Marco Odermatt and Loic Meillard, tied for silver on identical combined times, underlining just how thin the margins are in this format. In the women's free ski slopestyle final at Livigno, the established order held, but only just. Switzerland's Mathilde Grimaud, the defending champion, faced a ferocious challenge from China's Eileen Jiyu. Jiyu threw down a brilliant first run for 86.58, but Grimaud answered in run 2, upgrading her jump line to include a switch double cork 1260 and scoring 86.96, just 0.38 ahead. Canada's Megan Oldham took bronze, while Britain's Costemure agonizingly missed the podium by less than half a point. It was a showcase of how far women's free skiing has come, with tiny differences deciding medals. On the jumping hill, Germany's Philipp Raymond delivered one of the game's breakout performances. In the men's normal hill event, he led after the first round, then sealed goal with a huge final jump worth 138.5 points, the highest of the day. Poland's Kasper Tomajic claimed silver, while Japan's Ren Nakaido and Switzerland's Gregor Deschwanden shared bronze after tying on total points. For Raymond, it was a dream Olympic debut in Germany's first jumping gold of the Games. Over in snowboarding, the women's big air final belonged to Japan's Mureis Kokumo. The world champion, who had taken silver in Beijing 4 years earlier, saved her very best for the final run, landing a massive frontside 1440 to push a total to 179.00 and clinch gold. New Zealand's Stars Wee Sadowski finished with 172.25 for silver, and South Korea's Yoo Sun-jun took bronze with 171.00, capping a final in which a single landing could flip the entire podium. And at the Milano Speed Skating Stadium, the Dutch finally exploded into these games. In the women's 1,000-meter, Jutta Leerdam and Femke Koch turned the track orange. Koch went first among the favorites, setting an Olympic record of 1 minute and 12.59 seconds, but Leerdam answered in the very next pair with 1 minute and 12.31 seconds, another Olympic record, and gold for the Netherlands. Japan's Miho Takagi, the defending champion, took bronze for her 8th career Olympic medal. Day 3 closed with Switzerland and the Netherlands surging up the medal table, and the host fans realizing they were witnessing the rise of several new stars. Tuesday, February 10th, was one of the busiest days so far, 9 gold medals across 8 sports. Short track speed skating provided one of the emotional high points. Italy's evergreen star Oriana Fontana, skating in her 6th Olympics, anchored the mixed team relay squad to gold in 2 minutes and 39.019 seconds. Canada took silver and Belgium bronze, but the day belonged to Fontana, whose medal haul climbed into double digits, cementing her as one of the sport's all-time greats. At Livigno, Norway's Birk Ruud put on a free-ski masterclass in the men's slopestyle final. The 2-time world champion stumped an outstanding first run and never relinquished the lead, taking gold ahead of American Alex Hall and New Zealander Luca Harrington. Ruud now owns Olympic titles in both big air and slopestyle, placing him at the very peak of park skiing. In biathlon's men's 20 kilometers individual, Norwegian debutant Johan Olav Botten shocked the field. Pre-race favorite Eric Perrault of France looked on track for gold, but Botten shot clean, then unleashed a furious last lap to overtake and win by 14.8 seconds, with Perrault taking silver and Norway's Sturla Holm Lagrave bronze. In a sport where one missed shot can cost everything, Botten's perfect marksmanship on Olympic debut was a defining story. Cross-country sprints turned into a Swedish celebration on the women's side. Lynn Svan led a Swedish podium sweep in the Women's Sprint Classic, sprinting clear on the final climb to win gold in 4 minutes and 3.05 seconds. Defending champion Jorna Sundling took silver, Maja Dahlqvist bronze, in a race that underlined Sweden's depth in sprint skiing. On the sliding track, Germany's Julia Torbitz converted World Championship form into Olympic gold in women's singles luge. Over 4 runs, she was flawless, finishing almost a full second clear of Latvia's Alina Bozina, with American Ashley Fakahosson taking bronze. After years as one of the sport's top contenders, Torbitz finally owned the Olympic stage. Back on the short track, the night ended with Italian fans on their feet again as Fontana and company celebrated, while over at the figure skating arena Ilya Malinin topped the men's short program with 108.16 points, setting up what looked like a coronation later in the week. What no one knew yet was how dramatically that story would twist 3 days later. Wednesday, February 11th, 8 gold medals, and the host nation sees a sliding spotlight. Italy did something remarkable in luge. They won both the men's and women's doubles titles on the same day. In women's doubles, Andrea Votta and Marion Oberhofer made history by taking the first ever Olympic gold in that event, as it debuted on the Games program. Italy then doubled up in men's doubles, again topping Germany and Austria on the podium, lifting the host to 13 total medals and igniting Cortina's sliding center. In alpine skiing's men's Super G, Switzerland's Franjo von Allmen wrote another extraordinary chapter. Already downhill and combined champion, he charged to a 3rd gold in Super G, edging American Ryan Cochran-Siegel and fellow Swiss star Marco Odermatt. 3 golds in 5 days, von Allmen became the clear breakout megastar of these games. Biathlon's women's 15 kilometers individual belonged to France. Julia Simon shot and skied her way to gold, with compatriot Lou Jeanmonod taking silver and Bulgaria's Laura Ristova surprising many with bronze, a first Olympic medal for her country in this event. Nordic combined gave Norway another reason to celebrate, as Jens Oftebro won the normal hill plus 10 kilometers event, fending off Austria's Johannes Lamparter and Finland's Eero Hirvonen. It was classic Nordic combined. Small jumping margins, then a tense tactical ski race. Freestyle moguls turned into a U.S. showcase. In women's moguls, Elizabeth Lemley took gold and teammate Jalen Cole silver, with France's Perrine Lafont earning bronze. Lemley's aggressive, attacking style and big A jumps put her in a class of her own on the day. On the oval, American speed skating prodigy Jordan Stoltz delivered yet another statement. He took gold in the men's 1,000 meter, setting a new Olympic record and beating Dutch star Jenning de Boo and China's Ning Zhongyan. Still in his early 20s, Stoltz now owns multiple world and Olympic titles, and his name is being mentioned alongside the greats of the sport. Figure skating's ice dance final produced one of the game's first big judging controversies. France's Gabriela Papadakis and Guillaume Cizerin, returning icons of the discipline, won gold with a fluid, technically immaculate free dance, while the U.S. pair Madison Chock and Evan Bates took silver and Canada's Gilles and Poirier bronze. Some American fans questioned the scoring, but even critics acknowledged the French team's artistry and precision. Day 5 ended with Italy climbing to 13 total medals, the U.S. boosting its tally, and France reminding everyone that when it comes to biathlon and ice dance, they are as dangerous as ever. Thursday, February 12th kept the momentum going with 9 more gold medals. In women's Alpine Super-G, Switzerland's dominance in speed events continued, as another of their established stars added to the gold rush, further tightening the race atop the medal table. Cross-country saw Frida Karlsson make history of her own. Fresh off skiathlon gold, she returned for the women's 10 kilometers interval start freestyle and simply blew the field away, winning by more than 45 seconds ahead of teammate Ebba Anderson, with American Jessie Diggins taking bronze. That gave Karlsson her second gold of the Games and Sweden another 1-2 in women's distance events. Freestyle moguls flipped to the men, with Norway and the U.S. again prominent, while in luge team relay, a powerhouse nation, Germany, restored some sliding order by winning gold with clinical, mistake-free run. Short track returned in prime time as Italy's home squad took full advantage of their knowledge of the ice, and the sprint distances produced high-speed chaos, falls, penalties, and photo finishes that reinforce why this sport remains one of the most unpredictable of the games. On the long track, another Italian storybook continued. Francesca Lollobrigida, already 3,000 m champion, came back for the 5,000 m and won again, clocking 6 minutes and 46.17 seconds to edge the Netherlands' Merel Konijn and Norway's Ragnar Wiklund. At 35, on home ice, she became the most decorated Italian speed skater in Olympic history, adding a second gold to those earlier silver and bronze medals. By the end of February 12th, the narrative was clear. 1 week in, Milano Cortina was being defined by multi-gold stars, von Allmen, Karlsson, Lollobrigida, and by host nation athletes rising to the occasion. Friday, February 13th, Day 7 of competition, might go down as the single most dramatic day of the first week. The marquee event, men's figure skating free skate. Ilya Malinin entered as a leader and heavy favorite after his brilliant short program. But under Olympic pressure, even the quad god can falter. Attempting 2 quad axels, he came up short on both and stumbled on several other jumps, finishing with a free skate score of 156.33 and dropping all the way to 8th place overall. Instead, Kazakh skater Mikhail Shidorov seized the moment, delivering a clean, clutch program to win gold, with Japan's Yuma Kageyama and Shun Soto taking silver and bronze. It was a stunning reshuffling of the podium and a reminder that nothing in figure skating is guaranteed. On the snow in Tessero, Norway's Johannes Hosflot Klæbo turned Friday the 13th into a lucky day. He won the men's 10 kilometers interval start free, his third gold of these games and 8th of his career, tying the all-time Winter Olympic record for gold medals. France's Mathis Desloges earned a second silver, while Norway's Einar Hedegaard completed the podium. For Klæbo, it was less a race than a coronation lap in the history books. Biathlon's men's 10 kilometers sprint delivered redemption and drama in equal measure. France's Quentin Fillon-Maillet took gold, his second of the games, just ahead of Norway's Vetle Sjarstad Christiansen, with Sturla Holm Lagrade in bronze. Lagrade's story captured headlines. Only days earlier, he had made a very personal confession in a live interview about cheating on his girlfriend. Now, amid the emotional fallout and public scrutiny, he somehow steadied himself to win another Olympic medal. Snowboard cross brought Australian joy and Italian consolation. In the women's final, Josie Baff surged into the lead midway and held off all challenges to win gold, with Czech rider Eva Demchikova taking silver and Italy's Michaela Moily grabbing bronze for the host nation. It was Australia's first gold of the Games and a moment that will resonate back home. In the half-pipe, Japan's Yuto Totsuka finally climbed to the top Olympic step, winning men's snowboard halfpipe gold with a towering, near-perfect run. Australian star Scotty James, gunning for another title, fell late in his final run and had to settle for silver, while Japan's Ryuichi Yamada rounded out the podium. For Totsuka, long viewed as a generational talent, it was vindication after injuries and near misses earlier in his career. Speed skating's longest men's race, the 10.000M, produced a surprise champion. Czech skater Jilek dominated the 25-lap grind to take gold by more than 5 seconds over Poland's Vladimir Semeruni, with Dutch veteran Jorrit Borgsma earning bronze at age 40. Italy's Davide Giotto, the world record holder and Beijing bronze medalist, could only manage 6th at home. Skeleton crowned a new king of the ice shoot. Britain's Matt Weston won men's singles gold ahead of Germany's Axel Junk and Christopher Grothia. For Team GB, it was another sliding milestone after their success in skeleton at previous games. Away from the individual events, team sports wrote their own headlines. The U.S. women's hockey team shredded Italy 6-0, outshooting the hosts 51-6 and extending their unbeaten run to 5-0 as they marched toward another Olympic title shot. Kendall Coyne Schofield scored twice, Hannah Bilker added her 4th goal of the tournament, and the result underlined just how big the gap remains between North American powerhouses and emerging programs. On the curling sheet, the U.S. women produced history of their own, beating Canada 9-8 for the first time ever at the Olympics. A Canadian attempt to guard late backfired, knocking their own stone out and opening the door for the American steel. A small tactical mistake, a huge symbolic result. And all day long, fans kept one eye on the medal table and another on the deeper stories. A Kazakh skater winning his country's first figure skating gold, a French biathlete turning turmoil into bronze, and a Norwegian skier equaling an all-time record. Friday the 13th at Milano Cortina was anything but unlucky for those who seized their moment. So there you have it. From February 7th to February 13th, the Milano Cortina Winter Olympics have already given us a full week of storylines. We've seen newcomers like Franjo von Allmen and Kira Kimura explode onto the scene with multiple goals and last-run heroics. Veterans like Francesca Lollobrigida and Oriana Fontana have used home ice and experience to etch their names even deeper into Olympic history. Frida Karlsson has turned the women's distance races into a personal playground, while Johannes Hoslot Kleibo keeps rewriting the record book with every start. And this is only the first week. If this is what Milano Cortina 2026 looks like halfway through, the race for medals, records, and memories over the next few days is going to be unmissable. From giant slaloms to mass starts, from ski mountaineering's Olympic debut to the men's hockey medal rounds, there is still a lot of history left to write. If you enjoyed this complete Week 1 recap and want more clear, no-nonsense breakdowns of every twist and turn at these games, make sure you stick around for what comes next.